Hi everyone, you're joining us for the Co-op Program's Business Career Chats event tonight. I do just want to start tonight by acknowledging on behalf of UNSW and the Co-op Program, together with Nuragili, the Bidjigal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which the UNSW Kensington campus is located, and we gather to study and work. And we'd like to pay our respects to all elders past, present and emerging. So this is the business chat. And tonight, just to kind of get a little bit of a framing on where we're starting before we dive right in, I suppose it's really important to acknowledge where people are at in their journey. Some of you may have made a decision when you were 5 years old watching a television program that was exactly what you wanted to do with your life. You knew right then that you wanted to be an investment banker because your uncle did that kind of work. You have seen a CEO who is super powerful and that's where you want to go. And that's fantastic. That's wonderful. That's really exciting. But not everybody's there. I know I certainly was not that person. I was the person who this looked like my future when I was in high school. Kind of exciting that there were so many places I could go, so many things I could consider, but also a little bit scary, a little bit daunting. Is there a right road? Is there a wrong road? So I suppose what we just kind of want to discuss and have you, I suppose, take in a little bit tonight is there isn't one way only to get to where you want to go. There are some very traditional pathways. There are some very direct lines, like the one right down the middle, to get to a career that you've heard about, that you might already know a lot about, that you want to take, and that's completely fine. But there are also a number of different ways to get to the same place, or to get to a place that you've never heard of before. And that might come about in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, that ends up being your passion area and an area that you are really excited about. So it does take a lifetime to develop your career, and there can be many twists and turns, and all of that is completely fine. So what you might want to start out with, rather than I know exactly how I want to get there and every single road sign that I will pass, just start by thinking about your talents. What is it that you do well? What is it that you have already identified that you do well, perhaps through some subjects that you do at school, or something that you do externally through volunteer activities or through a sport, or some things like that. And, you know, there might be some things that you haven't even unturned yet. You might not even know about some of the talents that you have at this point. And then to think about what's important to you. Are you really keen to make sure that you are getting the highest possible pay packet every week that you can get? If you are, fantastic, that's fine. But you might be more interested in flexible working. You might be really keen to work on different kinds of things each month or each week with different kinds of people and different kinds of projects. Think about what interests you in that area and how you might be able to reduce the number of things going through that funnel so that you can make some decisions. Think about what you're passionate about. What is it that you absolutely love? Again, some of these things you might have already identified, and some of them may come out of school subjects that you do, and some of them may be completely different. And it might not always be easy to see how you can weave those things together. But if you've identified them, if an opportunity comes up that you can weave in a passion for art with, you know, some kind of technical or design work into a marketing career, then that's wonderful. And being able to identify that when those opportunities present themselves is half the battle. And then again, looking at opportunities. What opportunities are you already aware of that are around you? What kind of research can you do to find other opportunities that you've maybe not come across yet? Who can you talk to seek out other opportunities that might be relevant in a career sense, that might be relevant in a skills development sense, whatever it is. So basically, we're starting the journey by asking ourselves lots of questions, getting some more information, And then you'll have a whole bunch more information to get more information. So from there, it's about bringing those things together. And if you've already got some experience, fantastic. Make sure that you're thinking about experiences outside the classroom, outside your studies. It's much easier to find fulfillment and to feel that sense of balance if you have a number of different things and are a bit more well-rounded than single-minded. And you can be absolutely driven, but making sure that you offset that with some things to balance that out and keep and show a whole variety of skills, not just for your career, but in applications for scholarships at universities, in job applications. This is what all different areas are going to be looking for. And then again, seeking out more opportunities and going for them. If you've identified what your talents are, where your passion is, what skills that you've already developed, and identified other ways to develop more skills, then you can feel confident in the things that you've already done and be able to speak about them more confidently and back yourself when you're applying for or going for other opportunities. So don't panic, regardless of where you are on that little roadmap that I showed you before. There is no one ultimate career decision that you have to make at the age of 17, 18, 19, 35, 55. It doesn't matter. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can continue to pivot and change and find things that you're interested in and bring them into your career. What you should at this point be thinking about is, where do you want to start your career? What is your launch pad? Where would you like to start so that you can find a direction and start accumulating those skills? So that's kind of the mindset we'd like you to start off with tonight. Hopefully we can provide you with some more information, and I'm going to hand over to Kay Carey, who's our head of the co-op program, who's going to speak a little bit about some of the programs in the banking space with us. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. As Michelle said, my name's Kay, and what's important about what I do for this discussion is that I'm the industry partner for our commerce business program streams in the co-op program. So I'm going to talk to you about the commerce programs that we have tonight: accounting and business management, finance and banking and marketing. And then I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Barbara, to talk to you about the more specialist programs of actuarial studies, data science and advanced maths. So as Michelle alluded to, one of the most common themes that we get when we talk to students who are in year 11 or year 12 and in your position right now is that they know they want to go into business. They're interested in business. Their interest has been piqued in business, but they don't actually have enough knowledge or understanding to be able to define what specialisation they might want to take. So, but the good news is that business degrees, all business degrees, but particularly those at UNSW, if you choose to come and study with us, are actually changing. And they're changing both in terms of course content, but also in terms of the way business is studied at UNSW or also at other universities, so that you are getting a much more integrated degree, a much broader degree, a degree that gives you a good solid foundation in business as well as your specialisation. And that change is taking place because business has changed. And working in the business world today is very much a team sport. And when you hear from our students later and some of our sponsors, I'm sure you'll understand and hear what they have to say about this. These days, everybody works in teams. They work in cross-functional teams. They work on cross-functional projects. And therefore, that is the norm. So you need to leave your degree if you want to work in business in the future and be successful, as I'm sure you all do. You need to leave your degree with a really broad general understanding of how business works and how the specializations that you might take fit into that, but within the context of a broad business degree. Certainly if you come to study at UNSW, from last year, all first year students at UNSW who are doing commerce degree do a common integrated first year. And that common integrated first year, now we won't have time to go through all of these subjects tonight, and you wouldn't expect us to, but Michelle's already told you you're going to get these, you're going to get this information. And there is a wealth of information on the business school website where you can get more insight into all of these subjects. The important thing is that every commerce student, whatever program stream you specialise in, you will do this broad first year, which gives you that broad general business foundation. And it's from that foundation that you can launch a broadly based business career. And that's, as Michelle was saying, important to know where you want to start, but you want to have options about the future. Of course, you still need to choose a specialisation. And certainly if you want to apply for the co-op program, you need to choose that specialisation right in the beginning. But here too, there's a great degree of flexibility because as a commerce student, every commerce student, even co-op students, but perhaps especially co-op students, can do double majors. And so therefore, most of our students, if you get an accounting and banking co-op scholarship, many of those students will pair that accounting and banking with a second major, accounting and business management, will pair that with a second major maybe in finance and business management. Or you might get a marketing scholarship and those students will pair that marketing major with a major in, say, finance and banking or accounting. So again, you're broadening the base of your career opportunities and the flexibility that you have in your future to work effectively in a general business environment. And even beyond that, you have flexible electives or you have free electives, you have gen eds. And so you can also cherry pick certain specific subjects that will help build a broad business skill set. So you have lots of opportunities. We're not trying to narrow you down in choosing a specialisation. We're trying to broaden your base, the base of a degree for you. So let's take a quick look at the commerce programs, the commerce degree streams that we have within the co-op program. Accounting and business management, finance and banking, and marketing. Let me start with the two on the left, accounting and business management and finance and banking. Another question scholars or students often ask us is, what's the difference between accounting and finance? And to be really honest, it's a very blurry line. The key in the program streams that co-op offers is in the second part of both of those names, business management and banking. That's what differentiates these degree streams. It doesn't always differentiate the career that you go into, but it differentiates the two degree streams that you will do. And the first, accounting and business management, and I don't intend, or we don't have time to go through all of these career directions tonight. Again, you're going to get the slides, you can explore these, you can think about them and see which areas might be of interest to you. And you'll have lots of opportunities to ask us questions later on down the track if you want to. But what is a degree in accounting and business management designed to do? It's designed to produce students who are capable in their future of successfully running businesses. At the end of the day, we are trying to give you, or the university is trying to give you a degree which will provide you with all the fundamental financial knowledge you need to manage the financial health of a business. So if you're looking to be a CFO, a chief financial officer in a business, or a partner in an accounting firm down the track, this is the sort of degree. I hope my dog is not bothering everybody. He's barking outside the window. I do apologise. But it's about giving you skills to manage the financial health of a business. So you are looking at the metrics of a business, the numbers, if you will, but it's not only numbers these days. Key performance indicators in business, and all accountants will be looking at much broader than just the profitability. Of course, that's very key, but you're looking at costs, you're looking at trends, you're looking at efficiencies, you're looking at productivity, you're looking at sustainability and viability for businesses down the track. You're even looking at the license of businesses to operate and their governance. And the accounting and business management degree will give you as a student the skills to explore any of those areas. If you alternatively choose finance and banking, then, and often it's the banking that predominates here. In this degree stream, we are looking to really develop investment banking and investment banking skills. So students who study this degree are learning or understanding about the funding and the investment strategies that they can provide, that can be provided to many businesses. And investment bankers or investment banking organisations advise and support businesses. They come from externally, advise and support businesses and help them define and their strategic direction. So if as a business, you are looking to restructure your business, if as a business you're looking to merge with another business or you're looking to acquire another business, then this is when you will look to investment bankers. They can provide you with the funding or the capital to make those changes. They can provide you with the strategic framework to make those changes. And often they can introduce you to the partners that you might want to partner with if you are going into that, if you want to go into a particular merger or acquisition. And often, as I said, students will do a major in both areas so that they cover that whole spectrum of accounting and finance and banking. So they have all of those career opportunities laid out before them. What about marketing? Marketing is the third stream that we have in commerce, and marketing is really an umbrella term for a whole range of things. But essentially, it's about three things, I think, marketing. It's about managing the brand or the image of the offering that any company has in the marketplace, whether that's a product, whether that's a service. It's about managing that product and service, the image of that product and service, and the company image that surrounds it. It's about communicating with the people that you're offering the service to or the product to, and how you effectively communicate with them and how you build relationships with them that last for a long time, that build a long-term sustainable business. So in marketing, you might go into brand management. That's a very traditional area within marketing, but you might also choose to go into market research. You might want to go into marketing analytics, defining the marketing trends that drive a particular business or an industry or a market, and a particular company or brand. You might want to go into communications, so you might want to go into advertising, which might be for some companies still mass advertising, but increasingly more and more, it's about what you hold in your hand, right? That digital device that talks to you personally, and your social media accounts that provide brand image for you. Or you might want to look at consumer behavior. Consumer behavior, again, defining the trends of the people that you're offering your product to. So in a very broad way, they are the three key areas where we offer degrees in the commerce stream in the co-op program at UNSW. The last slide I want to share with you before I hand back to Michelle just starts to put some brands around some of, and I'm using marketing as an example, but I could just as easily do clusters for accounting and business management or for finance and banking. Because even once you enter a stream, we've talked about the different sort of roles that you might have, but taking marketing as an example, marketing can be in a whole lot of different sorts of marketing. If you look at the cluster on the left-hand side, that's the one that's easiest for us all to understand, because that's about fast-moving consumer goods. That's about businesses that sell their products to you and me, the products that you are used to every day. And I've just used the co-op sponsor pool in marketing to show you some of the brands that represent, if you go into consumer marketing, or if you focus on consumer marketing, you're going to be dealing with brands like Colgate, selling you toothpaste, McDonald's, Canon cameras, Porto. You won't all know so much about Jaguar or Land Rover, but you know that's another brand that you might aspire to when you move up the ladder. So that's consumer marketing. But there's equally opportunities in services marketing. businesses, and some businesses cross across. You know, while Colgate sells you toothpaste in the supermarket, they also have a huge business that services dentists and provides dentists with dental equipment and products. And that's a different form of marketing again. If you look at business to business marketing, think about a company like MSD, a big pharmaceutical company. They can't sell their drugs to you and me personally, so they can't talk directly to the consumers. They market their business to doctors, and they have to influence and advise doctors and educate doctors around drugs and the performance of drugs so that doctors then can prescribe them or recommend them to their patients. Again, a very different form of marketing. And you can equally develop these sort of clusters in accounting or so you can specialize in areas within an area if that's what you want to do. So I hope that's given you a bit of a flavour of the diversity and the breadth of the career opportunities that you can navigate when you do a commerce or a business degree in one of those key business areas. So maybe you'll have some questions later and we can talk a bit more then. Michelle.
Thanks, Kay. We are now going to share with you a few career journeys before I ask Zoe Poulos, who's, I've said marketing scholar there, which is obviously completely incorrect, and I do apologise. I know that you're accounting and business management. I do apologise, but without any further ado, let's hear from Deanne.
Hi, my name's Deanne Stewart and I'm CEO of Aware Super. Aware Super is one of the largest super funds here in Australia, and a super fund that's open up to all Australians, but at its heart has a real belief in the power of sustainability and responsible investing that we believe has helped us be one of the top performing funds. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. Just a little bit about my career and career journey, but also importantly, the role that co-op scholarship has played in my life. So I grew up in country New South Wales in Bathurst, and for me going to university in the big smoke in Sydney was certainly a daunting thing, but it was gaining a co-op scholarship at the Uni of New South Wales to do Bachelor of Commerce, but also do marketing and finance within that really created such an opportunity for me. During university, not only did I get to do the university degree, but the co-op scholarship also allowed me to work for 3 different organisations during that period of time, a couple of days a week each year. So the first year it was Commonwealth Bank, the second year it was with Kellogg's, and the third year it was with Coca-Cola. And this just gave me such a great opportunity to understand what business is all about. Certainly I had very little understanding growing up in Bathurst, but opportunity to work in the marketing department, work closely with finance, with accounting, with HR, and really get a sense of how these organisations worked was really helpful in framing my view of where I wanted to go into the future. So straight out of university, I then went and worked for Bankers Trust, or BT Funds Management as it was known at that time. And really, I am totally convinced that a big part of the reason I got that graduate role is the experience that I had had through the co-op scholarship. And now, certainly having come from the country, I had very little connections in Sydney, but the co-op program really helped me with that when I was looking to seek employment opportunities. So fast forward, I then worked with BT for a number of years, but then did an MBA over at Yale University and lived and worked for 11 years overseas, in London with McKinsey & Company and then in New York with Merrill Lynch. From that, I then came back to Australia, worked back at BT, running a number of different divisions on the private wealth side, operations and contact centres, and the superannuation business, marketing and digital. So it was a really amazing opportunity that I had, and really gathering very different experiences. I do believe that those different experiences then enabled me to my next role, which was CEO of MetLife Australia. Now, MetLife is one of the biggest global life insurers, and I worked closely with the actuarial team, very core to a life insurer, but a number of them had received previous co-op scholarships or were co-op scholarship graduates. and just seeing the difference that they were making in the organisation, and their depth of understanding and analytics was fantastic. From there, I now have my current job as CEO of Aware Super. It's absolutely my dream job. Getting to run a superannuation fund, one of the largest and best performing in Australia, is just such a privilege, because ultimately we're here to try and create the best possible retirement and future for as many Australians as possible. And through that, one of the core elements is really how we invest, and invest wisely, responsibly, with a really long-term mindset. And a number of actuary students are part of our team, and certainly our current co-op scholars have helped us put in a submission to the government on the future of retirement. It's called the Retirement Income Review. And now that submission was quoted several times in this government review, and a number of the actuarial co-op scholars really helped us put that together. So that's an example of how co-op scholars have helped us straight away as both students, but then ultimately later on in our actuarial team, but also in our investment team. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of background to the career, but also importantly, the impact of a co-op scholarship. And whether you're a co-op scholar today or looking at applying for a co-op scholarship, I couldn't rate it more highly. Thank you.
So we're really lucky, obviously, to have not fantastic industry partners, but alumni from the program who are working at and leading these companies. So it's fantastic to hear from CEOs of these businesses who've been in the shoes of a co-op scholar. Our next video comes from Rob Lee, who has quite a different career to Deanne. So I will just hit play on that one.
Hi, my name is Rob Lee, and I am the Integrated Business Planning Manager working in the Finance Department at the Arnott's Group in Sydney. My career progression has been quite different compared to my colleagues in the Finance Department. I received a Bachelor of Chemical Engineering from Brigham Young University in the United States, and I've just received a Master of Business Administration from Macquarie University in Sydney. So I've been working for Arnott's for close to 10 years now, and I started in supply chain in the demand planning function, where I looked after the manufacturing forecast for our products such as Tim Tam and Campbell's Soup for our major customers, Woolworths and Coles. Since then, I've jumped over into finance, into integrated business planning, and what I do day to day, well, first and foremost, I am responsible for the P&Ls that we shared throughout the business. So all those that financial information that the business needs to be able to run efficiently, that's what I look after. And so not just the analysis of the P&Ls, but also the presentation of the P&Ls. Also, I coordinate the planning activities over a 36-month horizon. So coordinate the activities of different functions in the business, finance, sales, marketing, supply chain. I just want to make sure, like in my role, that everyone's working together so that we're efficient, that we're not wasting resources, that we're planning efficiently to make sure that we're profitable and that we're serving our customers in the best way possible. So it is a very full-on job, but it is quite rewarding to see everyone working together towards a common goal. For those who are looking for a career in finance, particularly in FMCG, there are many opportunities. So you can, like at the Arnott's Group, you can work in IBP with me, but there are also other functions within finance, commercial finance, working with our customer teams, or you can work in supply chain finance or treasury. So there are many opportunities to move around the different departments within finance and to be able to contribute there, to learn and to progress. But a great thing about Arnott's is that you're not stuck in that in one function, your whole career if you don't want to be. So again, I started off in supply chain, and now I'm in finance. And I know like quite a few of my colleagues who started off in finance who have since moved into supply chain or to marketing and also to sales as well. So there are many great opportunities, and as long as you're willing to the business, that you're willing to be adaptable, then the sky's the limit with FMCG. So with that in mind, just keep an open mind. Like study hard, like get the best marks possible because that helps you to get into the business. But also just know that whatever you're doing, whatever you're studying, it's not the end. That's not the only thing that you will do for the rest of your life. There are many opportunities, so just keep an eye out for different opportunities, and like don't be scared to try something new. So that would be my advice to people studying finance and wanting to get into finance. So hopefully we'll see you at the Arnott's group soon.
Again, as a sponsor, Arnott's give our students some amazing opportunities and a lot of fabulous biscuits as well. So it's a win-win, really. The third video that I've got here for you is not quite as divergent a pathway as Rob had, for sure. So let's hear from Beck Lucas.
My name is Rebecca Lucas. I am a 2010 co-op marketing scholar. I studied at the University of New South Wales. I studied commerce, marketing and management and was super fortunate to be part of the co-op program. I now work at Unilever on the brand Dove. So I'm based in the global head office in London, and I lead sustainability for the Dove brand globally. So I'm here to share a little bit about my career journey so far. I became interested in a career in marketing when I was at school. I loved art and I loved business studies. So I was looking for a way to combine both the creative and analytical sides of my brain. I found out about the co-op program from a mentor I knew in the business world, and that would be my first point of advice is it's a really good idea, particularly early on in your career, and I'm still early on in my career, to build a really strong network of mentors who can surround you, and the co-op program is a great way to build mentors as well. So after joining the co-op program, which gave me great exposure across marketing and a great introduction to business through my 3 placements, I, at the end of the program, joined a graduate program at Coca-Cola Amatil. And it wasn't a specialist program in marketing. It was actually broader than that. It was the first year that Coca-Cola had a cross-functional program called the Customer Leader Program. And so I did 2 years of rotations across sales, finance, supply chain, and marketing. And after that, was still interested in marketing. So joined the Coca-Cola company in an assistant brand manager role where I worked on water brands. So I supported the marketing team across both local brands such as Mount Franklin, as well as global brands like Pump. Outside of my work, I was doing a lot of work in not-for-profit advocacy and fundraising. So I had lost my dad while I was studying at university to brain cancer, which made me particularly passionate about raising funds and awareness for cure brain cancer. I started a medical research grant in my dad's memory and a fundraising event called the Beach Walk for Brain Cancer to raise funds and awareness. And in the last 10 years, that event has grown to be one of over 30 walks that raise funds across Australia each year. And so something that I'm super proud of, also something that inspired in me an interest in not-for-profit marketing. So about 5 years ago, I moved to the UK. And I joined in the UK, I joined Movember Foundation that had started in Australia, but of course had become very global. I was the first global brand and cause promotion marketing manager in the organisation. So I was responsible for raising awareness of the cause areas that Movember supports. And it was for me a great introduction in not-for-profit and particularly working in not-for-profit. But I still had an interest in kind of getting back to big brand marketing, which was what really excited me at Coca-Cola. And so I joined Unilever in the UK. And Unilever is a company that really promotes brands having a purpose at the heart of the brands. So we say that purposeful brands grow twice as fast as non-purposeful brands. And in my first year at Unilever, I worked on the brand Lynx. It's called Axe everywhere else in the world, but known to Australians as Lynx. And I was responsible for defining the purpose or the social mission of the brand. After that, I moved on to Dove. And Dove, of course, is a brand that has a very well-defined social purpose, all about real beauty, as many people know it. And my role on Dove is about crafting the purpose for the planet, which is about all about Dove's environmental impact. So not only lessening the impact of the brand on the planet, but ensuring that Dove goes beyond having less impact to having a positive impact on the planet. So I work across projects such as plastics, no animal testing, climate change, and you might have seen recently that Dove made a new announcement about the Dove Forest Restoration Project. So these are all projects that I'm leading and working with a very close team of cross-functional experts within the business, as well as external experts outside of the business, and of course partnering really closely with Dove's priority markets, so the US, Europe, Asia, and working with many people to ensure that we bring our sustainability programs to life in a way that is impactful not only for our consumers but also for the planet. So it's a job I'm super proud of and passionate about. And I guess my advice for anyone that is interested in a career in marketing is to have an open mind, to kind of embrace all of the opportunities that come up, to build a strong network of mentors wherever possible, and to enjoy kind of working with and learning from diverse people who you will come across in your career. Because for me, that's how I've ended up where I am today, is learning with and working with and learning from some very amazing people. So I think good luck with wherever kind of the next step takes you, and please do feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all about the co-op program.
So Beck's one of those fantastic examples of where your personal passion can combine with your career progression, and embedding those skills that that employers want to see, those academic, those core skills, means that you can really shape where you take your career from there. I'm going to hand over to the wonderful Zoe Poulos, who is an accounting and business management scholar, which I of course know. Thanks, Zoe. If you could share with us a little bit about your experience. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Michelle. I'd hate to go over time, so just give me a wave if you want me to start to wrap it up. But hi guys, thanks for having me. When I finished high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was very much in three minds about everything. I was looking at architecture, I was looking at like public relations, but I did know that I really loved economics. And so originally I actually enrolled in economics law, and then I realized actually can't see myself as a lawyer. So I ended up actually going into commerce and economics at UNSW, which is a dual degree there. And so about 18 months in, it was going well, but I just got in the hang of it. I knew how to get good marks. I was just in the rhythm of things, and I wanted a new challenge, and I wanted to apply all the cool stuff that I was learning, because it was just sort of like, it was just getting very, I guess, very rhythmic for me. I wanted something new. And at that same time, a spot actually opened up in the co-op stream for the accounting and business management stream. So I applied, and thankfully I got it. So even though I could never really see myself as one of those sort of strict accountant auditors, I chose ABM because I could see that accounting gives me these skills to really understand a business, to figure out what is driving profitability, and also combined with my major, which was economics, I could see what was happening across the economy and then also see how that was impacting a business. So it was a really great mix of things. So then about a week after I was accepted into the program, I went straight into my first placement, which was at American Express. And this was not your typical accounting role at all. It was actually in strategy, and it was such a fun time. I did a whole mix of things, from launching an app. I did lots of campaign analysis. I worked with people across the globe, had lots of international meetings, and was running projects by myself. So I did 6 months there. Straight after that, I went to what was Coca-Cola Amatil, which now I think is Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners. This been bought out or changed hands. And this one was a lot more of an accounting type role. I did a lot of just your financial reporting and your journal entries. And then finally, I went and I did 6 months in Westpac in group finance, which was actually very much a finance role. And in that role, I did a lot of stuff supporting the CFO and the CEO, and did all the sort of the ASX reporting there as well. And those 3 placements were all incredibly different. And in the italics there, I've also put some of the softer skills that I learned across them. I think with those placements, not only did I absolutely improve those technical skills, but I also grew as a corporate professional throughout each one as well, from being a baby at American Express, freaking out about how to type an email, to running meetings and presenting to key stakeholders at Westpac. And from Westpac, they actually wanted me to stay on. So I finished my placements, and I'm just working there part-time as a senior analyst in group finance whilst I finish up my degree. So before I go on to my final career decision, just in reflecting on my placements, while of course those technical skills were built and also my corporate skills, I think about 4 things were the key drivers of how I got to where I am and how I decided to go into the rest of my career. The placements firstly showed me what I liked and what I didn't like. I loved the strategy. I liked being part of teams. I liked making an impact. I didn't quite as much like sort of the strict accounting, sitting in front of Excel every day. And so that helped me there. It also showed me what is out there. Moving from fast moving consumer goods at Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners to finance and credit cards. There are just so many different things which I had no clue about before I had started working. It also taught me to be open to opportunities, going from one industry to another with no clue about what the business is, how to do the role, and just being able just to have a go and just learn on the spot is just such an important skill. And I've had lots of people at work tell me that that is something that they see quite uniquely in co-op scholars, just being able just to jump into it and just be eager to learn more. And then finally, I developed some really great mentors and also some really close friends, friends who I'll still see weekly, who I've worked with or who I intern with as well. So then that led me to, what do I do next? I've done these 3 placements. Where do I want to go? So firstly, I can say is that even though I was in the accounting and business management stream, it was like my career decisions were not at all limited to accounting. I was actually quite spoilt for choice. I think that the co-op brand really holds itself. So I applied for 2 roles. I think I got offered like 6, and across different things as well. So, investment banking, data analytics, risk, finance, the possibilities are really endless. And don't feel like you're being pigeonholed when you go into each of the streams, because you actually get such a wide variety of experience that you can really have a go at anything. But ultimately, what it came down to was I knew that I loved to solve problems and I like to make an impact. I wanted to work with people as well. And actually, Michelle sent my CV through to strategy end at PwC. And I got a call up saying, hey, Zoe, can you come in for a final interview? And so I came in, had an interview, really connected with the people interviewing me. And after a couple of dinners and coffee catch-ups, I decided that that's where I'm going to go. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to solving problems there, sort of starting next year. But I think ultimately, the placements itself isn't actually what gives you a career. It actually teaches you what kind of professional you want to be, what you like, and how you want to learn. And from there, the rest of the opportunities open up for themselves. So definitely recommend co-op. But if you don't get into co-op, I think just having a part-time job and yeah, learning the responsibility and learning how to work with people is also a really great way for you to sort of go and figure out what you like and what you want to do in the future.
Thanks, Zoe. Really appreciate it. I mean, it's not a bad figure when you say you applied for 2 jobs and offered 6.
Yeah, no, it was a bit more overwhelming, to be honest. Don't think it makes it that much easier.
Absolutely, thank you. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Barbara Vidos, who's going to speak a little bit more about the maths-centric business careers. Thanks, Barbara.
Thanks, Michelle. So my name is Barbara, and I look after our actuarial and data science sponsors. So I'll start with the actuarial degree first. So what do actuaries do? Actuaries measure risk and discover ways for people and organizations to stay secure, even when the risks are high. And because risk is everywhere, so are actuaries. So if you aspire to become an actuary, the UNSW School of Risk and Actuarial Studies is definitely a place for you. It is globally ranked #1 business school in risk management, insurance, and actuarial science research, and it is the largest undergraduate program in actuarial studies in Australia and amongst the largest actuarial programs worldwide. So the Bachelor of Actuarial Studies is a 4-year program consisting of 26 courses and 3 industry placements. The school has an innovative and forward-looking curriculum, and it's thought by the best in the field. So you'll be able to choose from a broad range of electives in superannuation, retirement saving, AI and deep learning, data visualizations and communication, math, computer science, finance, marketing, and so on. And you can also major in actuarial studies, actuarial risk management and analytics, and if you choose quantitative data science as well. So actuaries have excellent career prospects. So this profession best prepares you for risk management careers. And then you can decide whether you want to go down more traditional path and choose roles related to insurance products, or you may be interested more in the non-traditional roles. So the industry that employs more actuaries than any other is the insurance industry. And if you're interested in that industry, then you can work in insurance companies where you'll see actuaries develop, price, and manage products across all lines of business. So life, health, retirement, general insurance. You can work for a consulting firm, and then as an actuary there, you will be providing actuarial advice to insurance companies and other providers of financial services, or within employee benefits departments, government agencies, and so on. But even within insurance, there is the roles are very diverse. So even if you work for an insurance company, you'll see actuaries doing all sorts of things from underwriting, claims, reinsurance, marketing, sales, operations, systems, finance, and so on. And then, as I mentioned, there are more non-traditional actuarial paths and roles that you may be more interested in. So then there is, you may find yourself in financial services such as banking, investment management, stock market. You may be interested in business analytics. So this is where actuaries work on predictive analytics, predictive modeling, and data mining. Technology, e-commerce, business startups of all sorts, and there is like a lot of risk there. And interestingly, like environmental causes, climate change and weather risk management as well. And again, transportation, energy, government. Like the list, as Zoe said previously, it's like it's really like endless of things where you can find yourself in. So wherever there is risk and a desire to manage that risk, so there is a need for actuaries. And then you can see our sponsor pool in actuarial studies is quite diverse. And so there is so the idea is that you get a variety of experiences so that you can actually make that decision, like you can make at the end of your degree and at the end of all your placements, that you can make a well-informed decision where you want to go after uni and what the things that you are most interested in. So definitely provides you with that opportunity. Data science and decisions and maths. So there is a lot of overlap, but I'll speak more about data science and decisions because it is our newest program at UNSW. And it is a multidisciplinary degree and first of its kind in Australia, because it spans 3 faculties, so science, engineering, and business. And of course, you'll be able to choose electives from all three faculties and specialize in either quantitative, business, or computational data science. So if you are thinking about studying data science, you're probably already aware of its power to shape our world. So it is a domain which involves making use of data for business outcomes. So you will need good technical skills, that's for sure. But also what's really important is to have good communication skills, because data scientists are essentially, they are storytellers. So you will be able to make sense of that data and at the end of the day, tell a story. So what that involves, it involves a lot of analyzing, understanding the data, first of all, but then analyzing, doing feature engineering of the data, cleansing of the data, creating data visualizations, and then applying all that to predict an outcome. Then, as I mentioned, being able to tell a story to the broader audience in simple terms so that anyone can understand your final message. So even people, like non-technical people like me, are able to understand and know what the outcomes and what your predictions and suggestions, recommendations are. So data scientists have become one of the most in-demand professionals globally. Because of that, because they have that unique skills to unlock hidden insights within data. And of course, you're probably aware and you have so much freedom there. It is applied and it's applicable like in any industry. So you can go from telecommunications, energy, financial services, manufacturing, healthcare and pharmaceutical industry, travel, sports, and so on. And again, our pool is it is a new program, but our pool is getting bigger, and there is a little bit of overlap because the same sponsors would take advanced maths, so that there is an overlap between those 2 degrees. But then the idea is that you go on have 3 different experiences in order to kind of experience different industry and sectors and to be able to make a decision where you want to go next after you graduate. So that is it, like from me. If you have any questions, ask after all the presentations, or just reach out to the co-op office and we'll be happy to talk to you. So thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. So we've got a career journey from Bilson, and then we'll hear from Victor Sang, who is a data science and decision scholar. So I'm just going to jump right into Bill's video.
Hi, I'm Bill. I began my actuarial co-op program in 2008. I'm currently the Chief of Staff at Uber Eats based out of Singapore. A lot of people are surprised to hear about my company and my role. What's an actuary doing at Uber? Well, that's what's so great about the actuarial profession. The actuarial skill set is so valuable that you can apply them almost anywhere. So how does this work? First, you become incredibly good at understanding data. And with that, you're able to identify opportunities for businesses or organizations, whether it's a new way to attract more customers, places where we can reduce operating costs and therefore improve profits, or changes in processes that improve the customer experience. As an example, when I first joined Uber Eats, I was tasked with solving some real-world physical challenges. Of the millions of deliveries we do every week, why do some of them go horribly wrong? Like you ordered your Big Mac meal, but your fries are missing. Or you didn't get a straw, so you can't drink that Coke. Or worse yet, the Coke spilled over the food and nothing's edible, leaving you angry and hangry. These are the types of problems I was solving, and data analytics played a huge part in understanding the problem and identifying practical solutions, a skill set I developed early in my career. Today, I'm in a different role, but I still apply my actuarial skill set. It's the middle of the year, so we're doing a lot of planning for the second half of the year. I've been spending time with leaders in each of our markets, discussing what we want to achieve by the end of the year, whether it's our overall growth ambitions, the product offerings, or stepping up the customer experience. And to understand the opportunity ahead, what we can realistically achieve, and the targets that we set for the teams, all of that required the actuarial skills of understanding data, analytical problem solving, and applying business acumen. So I hope that's given you a bit of flavor in the type of exciting work that's out there, suitable to people who are analytical problem solvers and great with numbers. The world continues to become more and more digital, and with that comes the ability to analyze so many more things than we ever could before. This presents an endless amount of opportunity for actuaries to get more involved with businesses outside of the traditional insurance space. And as computing power continues to accelerate, actuaries are able to do more with the data they have, and this will continue to be the case well into the future. So my tip for anyone going into this career would be to stay open-minded and think about all of the different applications of the skills you'll learn. You'll be able to achieve a lot and break into new fields. It's a challenging but rewarding career. If you're great with numbers, definitely consider this exciting path. Have a great day and stay safe.
Excellent. So now I'm going to hand over to Victor, who is a final year data science and decisions co-op scholar. Victor, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Michelle. So I will try and keep this succinct, given I'm aware of the time. But so a little bit about me. So I'm studying data science. As mentioned, I've been majoring in the quantitative stream. So that means that I'm doing a lot more stats and maths courses than I have computer science and business econometrics courses. Now, this has already been mentioned, but data science is a very interdisciplinary degree and a very interdisciplinary discipline. Over the course of my degree, I have had to study courses from the business school, doing econometrics, doing economics, and a lot of statistics and a lot of computer science and software engineering. But because we have so many free electives and major electives open to us, I've also been very fortunate to take courses in accounting, game theory, econometrics, just pure maths. And that's given me a really valuable experience and a really valuable perspective, because I think one of the most unique advantages of a degree like data science is that you get a taste of everything, and being a very T-shaped person makes you very, very attractive. And so over the course of my co-op scholarship, I have had placements at Westpac as a data engineer in their data-driven experiences platform. I have had an internship at ASIC, not the shoe company, but the government agency, the commission, as a data analyst. And I've also been at PwC as an assurance consultant, supporting the auditors and supporting the trust and risk team there. Now, outside of school, I've also gotten some experience, doing accounting, doing tax, doing data engineering. And this is because doing the co-op program and being able to have these, wide range of experiences has given me perspective to know that there are different things out there, to try different things. Because coming into this, as the second year of this degree being offered, I really didn't know where this was going to go. I just thought data science, how do you go from data science? Oh, you just become a data scientist. And over the last 4 years, I've kind of realized, oh no, like if you're going to have to analyze data for a business, somebody has to store that data. Okay, like how are you going to manage this data? I think we're all very familiar with the fact that in this digital age, there's a lot of problems with storing literally petabytes of information. And how do you make it easily accessible and easily usable for our business folks? That's a major concern. And so that's a whole field that I wasn't even aware of. And that's a whole opportunity for people studying this degree. And you've got analytics. That's quite a traditional route, but also a very broad route. You have people doing analytics anywhere that there are numbers. That could be in consulting, that could be in business, finance, accounting, you name it. If it's got a number, you can be an analyst. And finally, at PwC, I was an assurance consultant. That's much more high level. And you're looking at problems and you're trying to solve them. And you're trying to do that in a very detailed manner. And so being able to understand how data works, how numbers work, and being able to piece it all together in this huge picture is really advantageous. And that's something that this degree really arms you with, and this program and these experiences really arm you with. And so coming into this degree, I thought, oh, like I'm going to do this because I like maths, I like numbers, I'm good at them, but I also have a really short attention span. I like to do different things. And so that's kind of why I ended up in this field. And I also came in and I thought, okay, like I probably really like some low-level technical role, right? A career where I'm at the computer, I'm crunching numbers, solving problems. And what I learned from these experiences through these placements was that's not quite the reality. I actually am quite a lot more of a people person than I anticipated. I like taking charge and explaining problems and solving problems and communicating them to people who care and people who, their work and their lives are impacted by these decisions. And so that's kind of led me to this next step. I'm graduating at the end of this year and I'll be going back to PwC. Not in the same team as Zoe, unfortunately, but I'll be in assurance, data assurance, supporting people and solving these, really huge financial issues with a data-driven mentality. So that's my 5-minute pitch on my journey, and I'll pass it back.
Thanks, Victor. We really do ask a lot of our scholars to summarise their 4 years and multiple up to 18 months of experience in 5 minutes, but really appreciate that you both were able to give such a great little snapshot there. Just for anyone who doesn't really know what the co-op program is, I assume most of you do, but basically it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle that is wrapped up in a lovely bow of a scholarship. But more importantly, it gives you these leadership and professional development opportunities. It gives you, helps you start to create that network and have those mentoring opportunities and create that, that area. Obviously, your industry experience, as I said, up to 18 months of industry experience in diverse opportunities within the area that your major or your scholarship is in. And the scholarship itself is $19,600 per annum for guaranteed for 4 years. So if you have questions, if you have started an application and aren't sure what to do, if you haven't started an application, please go to our website, have a look. There's a whole bunch of information there about all of the aspects of the program. But what we'd like to do now is get to the questions that have already been put into the Q&A, some of which have been answered. So I am going to hand to Kay for the first one. Can you do international exchange with the co-op degree, and how will it work with UNSW's trimesters?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Yes, you certainly can do international exchange, COVID permitting. But you do have to plan when you're going to do your international exchange. We encourage students to do international exchange, and certainly the sponsor companies are very keen on students also, if they have the opportunity to do international exchange, because of course it broadens your perspective and gives you a more global perspective. But you have to plan when you can do it. So you have to structure it. And typically, if you're in a business, let me talk about the business area, in a business degree, it's either the second half of your second year or the second half of your fourth year. They are the windows, if you like, because you have to plan it around your degree progression, but more importantly, you have to plan it around when you're doing your industry placements. But yes, it's possible. Some students do 2 6-month exchange, but typically students will try and fit in 1 if and when, of course, the opportunity opens up for them. So absolutely, and we certainly encourage you and will support you in any way we can.
Okay. Are you able to get a co-op degree later on in university? Zoe is in one of those different kind of ways to start in the program. So obviously, that's a yes. It's only if and when a place becomes available. So the majority of co-op scholarships are starting at the beginning of the university career. When you first start UNSW, your study at UNSW, you're starting in the co-op program. We do have some scholarships that come on later in that first year. So if you have interviewed and are shortlisted, you may still be in the running for a late offer in your first year. But if somebody leaves the program for any reason, find out that it's not for them, we may open up applications later to later years students. And that's how we were lucky enough to bring Zoe into the program. And that's why she joined the program so much later than you know, the usual process for a co-op scholar. If the options and opportunities are similar in all streams, what's the actual difference between streams? I assume you're talking about the Bachelor of Commerce there. I'll take a go, Kay, obviously, feel free to jump in, and Zoe, you might like to as well. I suppose the streams difference in the Bachelor of Commerce, there are a number of majors, so a number of specific areas within a Bachelor of Commerce and a Bachelor of Commerce co-op that students are going to be doing a bit more of a deep dive. So that integrated first year that Kay was talking about, your first year to give you foundational skills across business in general, is designed to give you a platform to go from. And then in your major, so your co-op stream in accounting and business management, like Zoe has done, is giving you broader exposure and better understanding and learning in that specific stream. And then picking up a second major like economics, Zoe's been able to bring those 2 areas of study together as majors within her commerce degree. Now, from the co-op program perspective, the area that you are sponsored in, the area that you take your scholarship in, is where your practical experience with the organisations will be. So while you could be doing a second major that is not sponsored by your a part of your co-op sponsorship, the exposure, the experience that you get will be with specific teams in organisations that are either in that particular part of the business or work with that particular part of the business to give you exposure in the stream. I don't know if I've gone way too deep on that one, but I think, I don't know if anyone wants to add to that, but I think that probably covers it. One for Zoe and or Victor. How do the students manage work and study? What's the study and work ratio like? I don't know. Zoe, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I'm happy to add. So it's actually pretty okay. And that's because when you are working full-time in the program, you're not studying full-time. So I think I might have answered one of the questions where I said that your placements or your internships, they actually count for a university subject. So technically you're a full-time student, but like for me, during all my placements, I was only doing one subject at a time. So I would get half to 1 day off work per week. And in that time, that was plenty of time for me to go to all my lectures, my tutorials, and to study. So it's actually very doable because one subject is something that's really easy to maintain. And it's also still nice to be able to go into uni and also then go into work when we're not during a pandemic and in lockdown. So
Absolutely.
yeah, very doable. And there's a lot of support as well from your sponsor and then also from the co-op program. So if it does get a bit overwhelming, there's lots of places that you can turn.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything, Victor? Yeah.
Yeah. Just to like add some context, I know that like as a high school student looking into uni, like we say one subject, it's like, oh, like that must be a lot of work. But really, I think in a week, one subject, you only have, tops like 10 hours of lectures and classes that you physically have to attend. And then, studies you can do in your own time, right? You're not working 20 hours a week, 20 hours a day, hopefully. You should have some time at night to get some study done. And if you're studying regularly, it's actually very doable. And I think for my personal experience, the data science stream, you don't need to, there's no requirement for you to be taking courses in parallel to your placements. And so it was very doable for me because I just switched from full-time uni to full-time work.
Thank you, guys. So what are some of the placements for advanced maths, Barbara?
So for advanced maths, we do currently have a sponsor at the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. And so it is the same, there are two divisions and they both sponsor advanced maths. And they place data science students and advanced students in the same team. So very similar, as I said, like a lot of overlap and very similar to data science experience and placements. Unfortunately, we do have more scholarships in data science. For advanced maths, degree is a bit longer. When like as a co-op, it becomes a 5-year degree because it embeds honors. So there is more demand for data science, but nevertheless, we still offer scholarships and we do still have sponsors.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, trying to churn through, so excuse me if I'm speaking quickly. Do you still get opportunities to complete work placements within the normal commerce degree? From the co-op program is like I say, quite a neat bundle. There are a lot of work integrated learning opportunities available at UNSW, whether that is through a subject or a course that you're doing. One-off internships, we do also from the co-op program sponsor pool have some one-off internships that you could apply for once you are at the university, and through different faculties and different parts of the university, there are opportunities for you to do work integrated learning. I suppose the key difference here is with co-op you are guaranteed those 3 diverse placements, and that's really I suppose essential in getting a clearer or a better view of what an industry could be. And that's why that is so appealing. I think Zoe mentioned before, being able to see, not just what you like, but what you don't, what doesn't suit you. Going through and going, yep, this works for me, this works for me. Okay, where can I get that experience? If with those multiple experiences within the co-op program, students are able to do that. But yes, absolutely at UNSW, work integrated learning is a very important part of our hand, heart, mind mindset at the university. So there are other opportunities as well. Is the scholarship money that you mentioned, 19,000 per annum, subject to landing with a co-op placement in the industry? I'm not entirely sure that I understand what that means. I'm going to answer it from the perspective of, do you have to take a grad role with one of those industry partners? If that's not what you mean, please retype the question in there. From the co-op perspective, our aim is to give you broad experience. What we really want to do is to open your eyes to industry. The scholarship is to support you to be able to study full-time, work full-time at the times that you're doing either of those things. You do not need to take a grad role with any of our industry partners that sponsor you in the co-op scholarship. A lot of scholars do, obviously, because they are fantastic industry partners. They're fantastic opportunities. They're large organizations who see the value that you have as a co-op graduate, and take that into consideration when making offers. However, there is no requirement for you to take a graduate role. I hope that's answered that question. Sorry, Zoe, yes?
Sorry, I think the question might be like, if you join the co-op program, you will have a placement in your degree. So it's by joining the program, you are essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially guaranteed that during your degree, you'll have whatever the placements are in your contract. So for accounting, that was 3 6-month placements. It might vary depending on your stream, but it's not dependent on you getting a placement in
you don't have to search
during
for
uni, because that will already be given to you. So the money isn't contingent on anything like that, if that was your question.
Thank you. The question here about how many places are available and how likely are people to make it into co-op. You are absolutely more likely to make it into co-op if you apply. So that's number one. Number two, how many places are available? As many as we can offer, as many sponsorships and scholarships as we can secure. We can't give you the numbers on that right now for what that will be for 2022, because that is a process that we go through each year to secure sponsorships for that year. But in the business streams and in data science streams, the numbers are strong. They are good numbers, and there are always going to be a greater chance of you getting a scholarship if you actually hit submit on the application. Do that. Okay. I'm going to dismiss that one because that's the same question. Okay, so do sponsors offer the opportunity to complete your placements overseas? Does anyone else want to answer this one?
Let me have a go, Michelle. Generally, no. Most placements are done within Australia. However, we certainly have had examples of scholarships and placements which have taken place overseas. So sometimes sponsors will have the opportunity for a student to go overseas for the whole placement. There are other examples where students have had the opportunity to go and work on a project which is overseas, and this can also happen where students, when they go on exchange, for example, perhaps they go to the United States on exchange, and that might be the headquarters of the company that they've worked in. And if they've networked well and made good contacts, then perhaps they can go and have a look at the company in the place that they go on exchange. So there are a number of ways of doing it. It's not the norm for the placements, though. So you wouldn't accept co-op and co-op placements on the basis that that will give you opportunities to go overseas. It may happen. I think Zoe talked about the thing that's perhaps much more common is the opportunity to work these days as part of a global team. And many projects are managed globally. Many projects are managed with parts of the team in other countries, and where you get the opportunity to work across sometimes time zones, which can be difficult, but also across cultures. And so that's a very common thing. That you're working on a project, you're here in Australia and doing the Australian component, but you're working with teams that might be in various other places around the world. So there are a number of ways in which you can get some global experience as part of co-op. Occasionally, you're lucky enough to strike gold, and it can be with a placement.
Thanks, Kate. Will 2 majors extend your time in university? The majors structure it's a difficult thing to explain, and I really encourage you to go onto the university's website to actually get your head around what this means. But the short answer is no. Within a Bachelor of Commerce, and if we're just talking about that program in specifics, with our accounting, marketing, the Commerce Information Systems program, with finance and banking, it is an option to do 2 majors. Building 2 majors into your degree is an everyday occurrence for students to be able to complete in 4 years with the co-op program. So we give all of our scholars a sample study outline that shows them where they really have to keep in mind progression, because some subjects will have prerequisites, subjects you need to complete before you move forward. But the great thing with co-op as well is you have the opportunity to talk to an academic coordinator. If you're not sure what you want to do, you can come and chat to anyone in the co-op office or the stream-specific academic coordinator who can help you structure your degree. But 2 majors in a Bachelor of Commerce is a very standard thing. Victor, there's a question there that I think would be a great one for you. What level of maths would you need for maths-related or courses or actuarial? 3-unit, 4-unit? What would I be able to do it if I'm not good at maths?
Yeah, look, to be brutally honest, if you're doing actuarial studies, there is a requirement of maths. It's something that you have to be good at. Now, with data science, slightly different because the maths the portion of it is a little bit less intense. However, I wouldn't recommend you to do the maths related courses if you're not enjoying maths. And I say enjoying because uni maths is very different to high school maths. It's at a different pace. It's taught by experts, people who are really passionate about the field, and the experience is completely different. I remember I struggled so much with calculus in year 12 in 4-unit, but when I came to uni, they, just the way that they teach it and the materials they have, we slammed through that in a week, 2 weeks, and everybody was on the same page. So I would say that if you're not good at it, that's a hard question because, that could be indicative of the curriculum. But if you enjoy it, then in uni, you will almost certainly succeed because you enjoy it.
Thanks, Victor. I think that's absolutely the critical part for actuarial studies. It is math dense. Advanced maths, obviously math dense. It's right there in the title. If at UNSW there aren't prerequisite courses, there aren't subjects that you need to do to gain entrance to the degree, but we do have recommended subjects, and to take a look at those is a great idea. To know that you've got a good foundation going into any of the degrees that you're thinking about. Okay. If you have a degree already, can you still apply for the co-op program? Unfortunately not. It is a high school leaver opportunity. So it is available to students who are in year 12 or in their final year of high school this year and looking to come to university next year, or coming back to up to 2 years of gap year. So it's designed for students who are just starting out in their university career. We've got so many here, sorry. Okay, so how has COVID and industry placements worked? I might just maybe, Zoe, do you want to jump on that one? Are you able to do that?
Sure. So it's been really interesting. I think that it's actually worked much better for scholars than it has for university students. So right at the beginning of my second placement, COVID hit, and essentially we just did what the rest of the population was doing. We all started working from home, which was definitely a big learning experience for me, because it's different. You have to call like your team and have lots of Teams and Zoom calls, but ultimately it actually ends up being okay. I think that it was a lot less painful than doing uni from home, because in working from home, you're still part of a team, you're still kind of seeing them. So it's by no means ideal, but I did probably about 5 months online And yeah, it is okay, and you can still do it. Of course, like the rest of the population, it's disappointing, but totally manageable. And the companies have great policies as well for working from home, and Co-op also is there to support you.
Thanks, Zoe. Yeah, I'll just add that we are in touch with our industry partners, not just regularly, but frequently, a lot. And obviously through COVID and the start of that whole thing, we continue to thank our lucky stars that we have such supportive and amazing industry partners who have helped students get set up to work from home, and are making sure that they are supported. So that's absolutely, placements have continued and students are supported and getting fantastic experience in what is probably going to continue to be the style of work life, for it, at least in part, for some time. So okay, I'm going to shoot on through here. I know you can apply for up to 3 co-op programs with one application. Is it possible to get more than one offer, or will you only get the program you placed as your first choice? You will absolutely be made offers to any of the programs that you are a suitable candidate for, that you have interviewed for. So if you apply for 3 programs, if all 3 streams want to interview you, then you will attend those interviews. And if you are one of the candidates that each of those streams want, you will be made 3 offers for your conditional offer, and you then will select what you'd like to do from there. So keep in mind, if they are similar programs, you'll be able to tie that ribbon through your application. If they are very different programs, you're going to have to be fairly creative in kind of getting across to us that you are enthusiastic and passionate about 3 very diverse areas. But it is possible. Can you get into a career or degree based around data without much knowledge of coding or computer languages? Go on, Victor,
yeah.
Take it away.
Short answer, no. No. Yes, you can. I had never touched programming, never touched coding before uni, and I had never even done IT as a subject in high school. So they absolutely do not assume that you know anything about computers. They teach you how to turn them on and start coding in first year, first term. So you don't have to worry about that. Of course, knowing something is better than not knowing something, but you shouldn't stress if you haven't done it before. And in fact, it might be better because you haven't developed bad habits from self-teaching yourself, which is very common in data or tech related roles. So do not stress about that.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. There is a question in the application: what's the information that's required from the school? Once you start your application, you will see that there is a place there for the school's assessment page, and basically you are actioning as the applicant an email to be sent to the contact at the school. We have preloaded contacts in there. If you know that teacher has left the school, is no longer in that role at the school, there is an opportunity for you to enter the email of the correct person, careers advisor, year level coordinator. Always a good idea to check with your school if there's someone specific that should be going to. A lot of schools have a process for this, but you can action that as soon as you've registered and started your application, to give your school plenty of time to confirm what you have done in your application. So basically they are confirming the activities and the application that you have written. So that is what's required there. It is all laid out in the application. What are some of the qualities or things that applicant readers like and are looking for in particular in our applications? You might have picked up a little bit tonight how much we've talked about interest, we've talked about passion, we've talked about enthusiasm, we've talked about your qualities and thinking about how not just what you've done, but how what you have done has created or developed skills that you might apply to any of these careers that you're interested in. So I think for all of us, and Kay and Barbara, you might like to jump in here, but I think for all of us, what is really exciting in any application that we read is when the personality is coming through, when it is different, when it is, it's not just a person who is school captain, who is prefect, who's got an amazing academic record and ticks a whole bunch of boxes in the extracurriculars. That's fantastic if that is you, but that's not what we are searching through the applications looking for. We're looking for somebody who can, really show us why this is an area that they're interested in, why they would commit to this structure, and to, we commit to our sponsors that we will find them students who are enthusiastic and vibrantly interested in the areas that they are sponsoring them in. So that's really what we're looking for. Have I missed anything there, Kay or Barbara? No? Okay, so how do people afford going overseas to study for exchange? Victor, I know that you might have a response here, various ways, I'm sure, but did you want to jump there?
Yeah, so I actually went on exchange a couple of years ago in end of 2019. I went to London. So London is in particular one of the more expensive places that you could go. The co-op scholarship helps a lot. It's something that I had on my radar from the start of uni, and so I had kind of started budgeting and organizing my finances around that. Now, obviously, there are some other things that you can do. You can work part-time. I also did that, and the government also has help loans that are very similar to your student loans that can assist. So that's I think up to $5,000, and yeah, so in short, you can have your personal savings from personal jobs and part-time jobs. You can have your scholarship money from co-op, which is huge, and you can take out a loan as well.
Thanks, Victor. There's a couple of questions here about the selection criteria for co-op. All of that information is really clearly articulated on our website, I think. There's an application process, there is a video snapshot, and there is an interview that form the application process for co-op. What we are looking for is laid out on our apply page. So if you just go to the co-op website /apply, it actually has all of those out there, and future students as well. So I'd encourage you to jump on there and have a look for those. For the selection criteria and things like that. There's a question here about the work-life balance for the finance stream in particular. I understand there is a distinction WAM minimum, which seems fairly intense. I'm just going to speak to the academic side of things, and then Kay, you might like to jump in from the work-life balance as well. A distinction WAM, guys, just so that we take away that intense freak out that some people might be having, is 75. So yes, it does require you to show up for your classes and to put in some work and be organized, but it isn't asking you to get 99 out of 100. Coursework in university can be dense. And some of the concepts can be, really take a little while for you to wrap your head around, which is one of the really key reasons that you should be, thinking about going into an area and studying something that you're actually interested in, not just something that looks good on paper, not just something that somebody has told you is a prestigious program or a good degree to do. So that's from a co-op perspective, yes, we do require our scholars to maintain academics as they go through. I think Zoe mentioned before, you do have the support of the co-op team, you do have the support of academic coordinators, and there's heaps of support available at the university, even if you're not a co-op scholar as well. But if you are working in the finance world, there are industry hours. You're dealing with an international a team often. And Kay, do you want to jump in on that one at all?
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to say that the finance industry is an intense industry, and they do work long hours. So there's no point in trying to gloss over that. And when you work as an intern in those businesses, you see how hard people work. And it's important for you to do that. It's important for you to see how hard people work, because if that's the career choice you're going to make, you need to understand that's the way the industry is. I'd say two things. One is that it's an industry that plays hard and works hard, because it is an industry that has highs and lows. When you're working on a deal, and the hours are really long. It can involve, you know, international global partners, and therefore you're working a lot late at night and a lot very early in the morning because you're working across time zones. In the middle of the day, I often see not only our students, but a lot of our sponsors, if I'm in the city, when we were allowed to do those things, you know, they're out going for a run in the middle of the day. They're out doing things because you have to work to the time zones that the partners are working to. But it can often involve a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings. But also there are times when you have downtimes, and you have to learn how to manage your time around the highs and the lows, the peaks and the troughs of the industry that you're working in. The other thing is that the finance industry is increasingly becoming aware that that they need to manage better the hours of the people who work there. Not because people aren't passionate, committed, and want to work those hours, but because you get burnout if you don't manage it correctly. And I think there's a lot, if you are interested enough in finance, then if you're reading the financial press, you see that there's a lot of discussion around at the moment about how finance companies need to find better ways to manage the nature of the industry without burning out their staff. So it's intense. It can be managed, but it needs to be actively managed. You need to be able to actively manage the highs and the lows of the finance industry, and you need to be able to find time to build in the breathing space you need, and that's not always easy, and it's certainly not easy when you're working on deals. But what Co-op gives you is the opportunity to see that and to see how that happens while you're on placement, and for you to decide whether that's the industry or that's the part of the industry that you really want to work in.
Thanks, Kay. There are a couple of questions here about assumptions being made about lower entrance ranks to university because of COVID, all of those sorts of things. Until such time as there has been any kind of announcement from UAC, we haven't taken any decisions on changing those things at this stage. If there is a significant change, if there is something that is announced, we will obviously take that into consideration, and anyone who has an application in the system will receive an update, and we'll also make any changes known to careers advisors as well. The dates for the video snapshot and the interview dates, would they be likely to change? Would they be likely changed because of COVID? We are very unlikely to change the dates for the interviews, because last year we've happily or unhappily, I'm not really sure which way to go on that, but we have been through this and we took our interviews very successfully online. It does make it a different process, but it was still held on the same day because we have our industry partners take part in those interviews, and that's a really important part of the interview process for our from our perspective. So yes, they are locked in almost a year in advance, so we won't be changing those dates unless something extreme happens, in which case anyone who has an application in will be made aware of that. I think we have pretty much answered all of the questions with that have, without just slight variation. If you have want to know more about what you can do to stand out, if you want to get a little bit more insight on industry placements and things like that, please go to our website. We do have a heap of information on there, literally designed to give you more information about all of those things. You can also email, phone, contact us in the Co-op office at any time. We'd be really happy to answer any specific questions you have. Good luck with your applications, and if you are remotely interested in programs in the engineering field, we have our career chat in engineering tomorrow night. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, and we hope to see you on the other end of your co-op application. Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.